All right, 10 minutes on Windows 10. Everybody running Windows 10 in production, right? We got a ticket today from somebody at home who updated their own laptop and it hosed it. It's always fun when the users do that. All right, this is the final version of Windows. That really should have brought more applause. We don't have to wait to get the next round of functionality or the next round of features. Microsoft is going to continue to dump that into Windows. Windows now becomes a continually evolving product that doesn't have to be replaced every couple of years. However, if you like the old way, anybody from a Baptist church, you hate change? You can download a version of Windows special for you, they should call it the Baptist version, that does not update. All it does is feature releases, so it's locked into that mode and then you have to change it every couple of years. Number 9, there are new games that come with Windows 10. Everybody play Candy Crush? Losers. Candy Crush, anybody? I hate that game. I think it's rigged to intentionally not put 3 candies in a row. They also brought back Minesweeper. I couldn't figure that one out either. And of course, Solitaire. What would it be like without Solitaire? Number 8, virtual desktops are back in Windows 10. They're not back. Microsoft is just the last version of the operating system in the world to have virtual desktops. Virtual desktops are pretty cool because on one desktop you can have Candy Crush and Solitaire and Minesweeper, and on the other one you can have Word, Outlook, and Visual Basic, and quickly switch between the two without your boss knowing. It also helps you maximize real estate on smaller screens. So you got your little Surface screen. You can have 20 windows open, divided up amongst as many desktops as you want. Again, this is not new to Windows, but this is a pretty cool thing that they added. Number 7, the Continuum. This is not the Q Continuum from Star Trek The Next Generation. Star Trek 1 earlier, right? Star Trek over Star Wars, right? This is a half-baked idea that is not really ready for production. No apps currently take advantage of it. The goal is you can switch from touch mode to non-touch mode seamlessly, and the app automatically morphs into this beautiful thing for touch that doesn't exist for the desktop. Again, no apps are doing this right now. Outlook claims to have it. It doesn't work really well. And then the Mail app that is built into Windows 10 is already optimized for touch. I'm waiting for Photoshop to be optimized for touch. So when you unplug and you go to your touch device, your Photoshop all of a sudden optimizes all those buttons to make it easier for your finger. Cortana has been added to Windows 10. This is Microsoft's version of Siri. Anybody play Halo? You can admit it. Windows 10 is loaded with stuff from Halo. So Cortana is from the Halo franchise, and she's your virtual assistant. There's also the rings of Halo built into the development ring. So you got the slow ring and you've got the fast ring. And the development rings allow you to determine how fast you get the new features for Windows. Cortana is also now available for your iPhone, because that's what we all need, are 2 women inside the iPhone telling us what to do. It's also available for Android. I can't figure out why they want the virtual assistant to be cross-platform. It's kind of cool in Windows 10, but it does drain your battery life if you leave her on all the time. And she's constantly popping stuff up that you want to turn off. Like, she can scan your email and tell you when your packages are going to show up from UPS. She can scan your email and tell you when your flight leaves and look in your email and find stuff like that. She's the first contextually aware virtual assistant. Well, iOS 9 came out, and guess what Siri can now do? Again, why do you want 2 of these things competing with each other? And I haven't figured out how Cortana is going to work in a cube farm. Everybody yelling at their computers, and this virtual voice coming back saying, "I'm sorry, I don't understand what you're asking me to do." The Metro interface is finally gone. During the previews, there was a lot of discussion about whether Metro would be useful or not, and whether they're going to keep it. They got rid of it. So that will make life easier for your users. There's no more 2 versions of IE. There's not the Metro version. There's not this. Thank you. There's not the Start Screen version. There's just one version. The Start Screen or the old Metro-style apps now run inside a window on your desktop. Microsoft says, for the developers in the room, you'll now only have to write one app, and it'll work on Windows 10, it'll work on the phone, and all that kind of stuff. It'll even work on the Xbox. The Xbox is supposed to get the Windows 10 kernel. I'm not a developer. I don't know if that's true or going to work out, but that's Microsoft's claim to make things much easier on the developers. Number 4, the Action Center has been added to Windows 10. This is a place to bring all your notifications together into one spot for Outlook, even the Facebook and Twitter apps. All the apps that have this capability use the Notification Center. This is kind of cool, but this will drive you nuts if you don't start turning it off. That pop-up down by the clock just keeps going every time Windows detects something. This is also where you'll get your system update notifications, and we'll talk more about that in the workshop tomorrow, but you can find out whether you need to reboot due to an update. You can find out if your system is due for an update. You can also have Cortana pop stuff up in there that says, hey, I noticed that today is your anniversary, you should buy your wife flowers. It's also nice on the touch screen because you can swipe in and there's a bunch of buttons that appear that make it easy to put your device in airplane mode and access system settings if you're using a touch device. Number 3, Microsoft Edge. This is the new browser that takes the place of IE. IE is still available. You can still run it. It's hidden in Windows 10. But Edge is supposed to be the new default browser. It is the fastest browser I've used. There's a ton of benchmarks you can read online. It's pretty slick. However, it has a few limitations. For one, it can't run any extensions. Also, support for many of the functionalities that you use, like ASP.NET, don't run in IE. Or in Edge. So if you're running an application that requires that, you have to use Internet Explorer. It's basically Chrome that's been rebranded as Edge. If you side-by-side it, they're the same things. And again, it's fast. It's just another one of those half-baked ideas that they've got to put more into, because if your CHMS requires .NET, Edge isn't going to work. Number 2, the Start menu is back. I realize how many of you are from the East Coast? So right now, you don't know what time it is. Look, just fake it. The Start menu is back. Yeah. Last year at this very event, we talked about the Start menu never coming back because Microsoft swore they weren't going to bring it back because they got a lot of user feedback that said the Start menu was bad. I didn't give them any of that feedback. But they brought it back and they combined it with the Start screen. It's pretty cool because now you can bring up the menu and all your live tiles work, your animations work. It syncs the settings between your devices if you use multiple devices. I think they finally got this one right. Of course, it takes them every other version to get it right. But the live tiles can be synced across devices, and if the app supports it, you can have a tremendous amount of data displayed all in one place, all using your Start menu. And you can size it. Little known tool, you can grab a hold of it and drag it and make it 3 and 4 columns wide. Once you play around with the organization, it is nice that once you get it the way you want it to be, the settings sync between every device. And finally, it's free. Now that was more of a moan. It's kind of free. There's a ton of catches. Microsoft's marketing department, of course, we all know isn't very bright. That's why they went from the Xbox to the Xbox 360 to the Xbox One. So they came out and said, hey, Windows 10 is free, and everybody jumped up and down and said, great. Then they came back out and said, well, it's kind of free. And where the free thing gets us in trouble is, again, how many of you have laptops in production that people are upgrading on their own? Yeah. And then, how many of you have laptops in production and people saying, hey, how come I didn't get the notification that I can put Windows 10 on my laptop? Or why didn't my desktop pop up and say, hey, I can have Windows 10? That's part of the catch. So tomorrow at the workshop, the licensing thing is a complicated mess. It actually makes perfect sense if you understand Microsoft licensing. How many? I mean, it does. It makes perfect sense. But that's why the workshops are an hour and 45 minutes. We're going to talk for 10 minutes about Windows 10 and an hour and 35 minutes about licensing. So Windows 10, I do suggest that you've planned to get it in production. Take some time. There are lots of cool deployment opportunities and cool tools to deploy it and make it nice and easy. Office, what version of Office just came out? Is it 16? 17, 20, who knows? The last version of Office just was released, so you can build that into your imaging now and deploy it, and then push that out so everybody all at the same time can get the new version of the operating system, and they can also get the new version of Office. Anybody use SCCM? That's a great tool. They've got some nice stuff to make that easier to deploy the two products together without hosing your workstations. So I'm done at this point. I've got 10 seconds left. I just want to see if anybody will do anything, because I've been here before and I've seen people go along and nobody does anything. You're all too nice. There we go. Thank you. Now, I expect you to treat my friends with that same level of dignity and respect when they go along.